So I always tell people stay within your scope of practice. If you don't have one yet, then that's probably because you've never went after one thing as hard as you possibly could. They're rocking and just destroying Medicare. And it's like, why would you stop doing that? Because Medicare's residual income and annuities one time. I almost am jealous. I'm jealous sometimes. Why would you stop doing that? Let's just do this. Let's set up some type of referral partnership where I just cut you in on the commission and I'll just write it for you. Now, I don't have the time to do that. I'm too busy, but like I got agents that, they could use that. Super intelligent agents, super good at what they do, maybe just not the fullest pipeline like I have, right?
Yeah.
So I like that way better. And I call it your scope of practice, by the way. So like a doctor, okay? A doctor has what's called a scope of practice.
Yeah.
Meaning that if you're a chiropractor, that's your scope of practice. You're going to deal with whatever that is with chiropractors, cracking bones and whatever, right? If you're a foot doctor, what the heck do they call those people? You know what they call them? It's a funny word. Somebody in the comments will know. So the foot doctor, that's what they specialize in, right? That's their scope of practice. So I always tell people stay within your scope of practice. If you don't have one yet, then that's probably because you've never went after one thing as hard as you possibly could, because that's all it took for me. It didn't matter if it was annuities for me or if it was Medicare or if it was life. I just went after something full bore and ended up landing where I was at. It could have been freaking solar panel salespeople or whatever. Okay, it could have been anything. You'd be surprised on what you're capable of if you just like, hey, here's 110% of my time or energy. Boom, let's punch through some giant brick wall.
Yeah. So how do you know that like the annuity space was, I guess, for you? Because that's like, or like, what made you want to decide to do that challenge? Because I think I could relate to you on that. And I think that's a great point that you brought up of like just the way that you're able to like not get that shiny object syndrome is like literally put total obsession into like one goal and like make it big and make it keep your attention. But for you, like how was your goal to do 300,000 in commission, or was it kind of just like,
no,
let's see how much I could do in this month?
Yeah, my goal was 6 figures. I wanted to do 100,000. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I did a challenge in September is when I really kicked off really full-time annuity stuff last year, where I was writing annuities and I was doing a couple million, but I wasn't, I think people were labeling me as the annuity guy when I wasn't like that biggest producer. I just had a lot of knowledge at that time because I'm an analytical guy now. So people were labeling me and I got kind of called out by some folks. And they're like, we don't think you write what you say you write, even though I've never said anything about what I write. So I was like, okay, well, I think this is time for me to like, put my money where my mouth is. So I took September and I did a challenge. I prepped in August and I wanted to see if I went full-time at annuities, just like ignore my family for an entire month and see what I could do. And that's exactly what I did. And then I ended up doing like 285 or 282,000 in commission. I wrote 3 million and some change in annuities or something like that. I almost don't remember it anymore because I've had a better month than that now.
Really?
I have, yeah.
Like a bunch of bigger cases, or?
Yeah, I had some big cases that came through from some seminars and ended up issuing more policies and more big policies in a month. So my goal is I try to do 1.5 to 2 million a month in annuity production. I try to write mostly fixed index, which is anywhere between a 6.5 to 8.5% comp. So that's normally my goal. But to go back to your question, why that? I think it was more of like I wanted to just prove to other people. When people tell me I can't do something, I don't like that. Like if you tell me I can't fly, I'm probably going to figure out how to fly. Because it's like, I just like to really prove people wrong. And it's not like because I'm like such a hard worker, it's because I'm spiteful of people. So like, I'm like, listen here, jerk, I'm going to prove you wrong. And then I'm going to rub it in your face. And it's probably a bad characteristic to have. And I think I've gotten over that a little bit, but it's still there a little. So annuities were just an avenue because I started joining these groups on Facebook and people had questions about annuities and I started answering them. That's it. That's all I did. Like, oh, yeah, I know that question. Here's an answer for it. And then they got more complicated. I started doing more research. Like, oh, I kind of want to know that too. Did the research, found out and answered it. And then all of a sudden people started tagging me on posts. Oh, Tracy knows this. I've seen him, do this. And I did it on the Medicare side too. And it just rolled. The ball just rolled, dude. And then finally I asked to come to an event and give a speech on annuity stuff. And so I did. And then since that event, I've spoke 14 times, 15 times now, and I'm starting to get paid to speak because I had to get better and better and better. So as time rolled on, it was exponential. So you're talking
That's cool.
a year. Was it a year? Yeah, it's been like probably a little over a year since my first speaking engagement on annuities. It's just skyrocketed. But it's not because of lack of work. There's been a lot of work to make sure that we have, I'm putting the right information out there for sure. So it just happened that way, man. It just kind of happened. I didn't realize what I had until people kind of started labeling me as the annuity guy. I don't know, maybe I got it in the space at the right time.
Yeah, so when agents come to you and they're trying to figure out what route to go down, what's some advice you give them, like, to a newer person?
I shock and approach it, man. So like if you're new and you've never done life or Medicare or annuities or IUL or whatever, okay, cash value life insurance, mortgage protection, term life. If you've never done any of that, then give it all a whirl. Figure out which one, tickles the fancy, so to speak, So like, which one do you like? Yeah. And don't close the doors on the other ones, because you might find out that you like that, later in life when you develop differently. Like I said, never a math guy. Now I do compounding formulas and do Excel formulas and equations and sequence of return stuff. Like yeah, I'm super nerdy now, but it's because I get paid to be that nerdy now. It's like there's a reason for it, and it can be, it can be something that I can make money on. So it's different how, like, when you introduce like money into the equation, how passionate you can be about something. So and I'm not saying don't do annuities because they pay a bunch of money, because I can tell you there's people out there that do life and they do Medicare that make way more than I do. Okay, so you can make money in anything. It's just annuities are for me, it was I don't know, it gave myself financial freedom, and it gave my clients financial freedom. I really liked it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's funny because I try to get it, like, I got that mega shiny object syndrome like fast when I started, like, I just, like, they would always teach us to, like, refer the annuities and stuff, and you'd always try to find it and try to get those clients, and then all of a sudden I was like, all right, I'm going into annuities, like, and it was like horrible, because then the cash flow of my business just got sucked dry. How much, I'm really curious, you don't have to say, but like, how much did you invest into like lead spend and all that for that month? And like, how'd you get your leads?
Yeah, so I broke it down. I broke it all down in a video. I think I did. Maybe it was for my agents only. I'm not sure. So I ended up spending somewhere around $17,000 that month in lead costs. I used specifically, I just used lead vendors. So there are a bunch of different annuity lead vendors out there. They cost anywhere between, for like the good leads, $300 to $400 each per lead, which I know is kind of, people think of that and they're like, that sounds absolutely ridiculous. But if you knew what some annuity commissions were, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'd pay that all day long. So I spent like it was like 17 grand or 16, 17, 18, somewhere around there to get that. And it was just annuity leads. So I did about 50% in person and 50% virtual. They were all in Michigan. I basically bought as much as I could. These guys, that's literally all I could get during that time. And I would drive 4.5 hours to go meet with somebody, and then I'd drive 4.5 hours to go meet with them again if I needed to do a second appointment. And then I was closing via Zoom as well. I kind of developed my own Zoom strategy with some automation attached to it in my CRM, and like an email drip deal for leads that came in. And I was just dialing these leads just like you would dial, like, you only got 20 leads, man, and that's it, and you're broke after that. Like that's how I was dialing. And that's exactly, I was triple dialing. I was dialing in the morning. I was staying late, dialing in the evening. I was making sure I was getting everything out of those leads. These days I could learn from that, because nowadays I'm like, I didn't answer once. There's another $400 lead company. Let's go. Cause like time's money now. So
Yeah.
like, I don't do that anymore, but I should, if I really wanted a good ROI. But like I said, I got agents now and training and all that stuff. So it's more time is money. Like, listen, dude, if you're not going to answer, like, I'm like, if you don't have 250 grand, I'm not even going to talk to you. And that sounds terrible. When you get to a certain level though, you're going to get to the point where that's how it is, man. It's like, it's if I'm sitting here focusing on like $25,000-$50,000 cases, I'm not gonna be able to feed my family or do what I want to do or grow at the pace I want to grow to. So it's a time thing, right? If I'm gonna put time here, it means I got to take away over here, and over here is my family, and I'm not gonna do that anymore because I did that, and it's not a good thing. Family's number one, man.
Yeah, 100%. What was your closing percentage on those?
Pretty high, probably 50%, if not more. I was closing a lot. Yeah, I think I had like 30. I think I had like 30. Oh gosh, I wish I had the stats. They're on my board for the longest time. 30 something leads that had come through, or maybe it was 50 leads that had come through. I don't remember, because some of the leads that I had purchased were cheaper leads. They were like they're called cherry picked leads. So I kind of used those to fill my time. So some of them were cheaper, but let's just say it was 40 leads. Just throwing that out there, 40 leads. I think I wrote like 17 policies. So under 50% is what I think I wrote. So an annuity close rate, if you buy 10 leads, you're probably closing one if you're good, 1 to 2, maybe 2. So for me to close 4 or close to 5 out of 10 was way above industry average, way above. My ROI was way above industry average. ROI normally is about 2, 3, 400x if you're good. Mine was far more than that. I think I don't know, $16,000 spend, $300,000 commission. I don't know what that is, 20x ROI, something like that.
Yeah, no, totally. So obviously, are you still like heavily building now, or what are you kind of your mindset going forward? What's your goal with this whole thing?
Well, I obviously, people wanted to learn from me, so I started the Annuity Giants brand to, I started that group on Facebook for me to just be able to pour into people. And I wasn't going to monetize it. I wasn't even really building a downline. And it was out of necessity. Like, people just reaching out to me like, Tracy, I need a mentor. I need help. I need this. I need that. I'm like, okay, well, let's do this. And then like, I started like pouring into people, and it's like, oh gosh, I just had an agent do $2 million last month. And oh gosh, I had an agent just start in April and literally just closed like $3 million in cases. And it's like, I gotta be doing something right here. So that's why we started the course, so that when we roll out the course towards the end of this month, it's kind of an automated thing to take somebody from A to Z, so that I can continue to focus on producing. I like producing, man. My primary focus is always going to be producing. I'll give my agents the time if they need it, but that's why we have support to be able to help agents if they need it, if I'm not available. Because if I'm not producing, I'm just like every other marketer now, right? I have an IMO, and I'm just like every other marketer who's not producing and is just marketing. I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I'm doing it just like everybody else. Therefore, I'm learning just like everybody else. And I made it to where my system is completely replicatable. It's not like this, hey, I'm in with the federal government. I have these crazy, like, I built up this grassroots over the past 15 years. Like, no, agents don't need that. You know what agents need? They need, I need to make money now. And I need a system now that's replicatable. So that's why we started that. So kind of moving forward, man, I want to continue to go down the path we're going down. I want to continue to produce. My goal is to produce 20 to 30 million a year under my pen. Agency do about 100 million a year, between myself and maybe my partners, if not just myself and my downlines. Yeah. And then just to be able to be I don't want to build like this 1,000 agent shop, but I want to have like 100 just murderous agents where they're out there just crushing it and just super proactive. I'd rather have that. And I am not shy to boot agents out of my downline that don't show me that they're, proactive, which doesn't cost me anything if they're not doing anything. I'm not putting money into them. But like, I don't even want you to be a part of my downline if you're just going to sit there and do nothing. That's not how I am. Then that's not how it should be.
So your goal is to just continue to produce for
Yeah.
ever, pretty much, and just like
Probably sell at some
a
point.
structure kind. Oh,
Yeah.
sell the agency.
Yeah, I think companies, the big boy companies that are buying people out right now, they're more interested in the brand. Annuity agencies, they're not worth as much as like a Medicare or life agency. But right now there's still people still buying them for like 4x, 2, 3, 4x. But I look at it as, you want my brand, you want my downlines, that type of thing. That's what's worth money. So I want to continue to build my brand. And then at some point when I am older, probably way older than I am now, because I'm 30, sell and continue to work just for a paycheck, and probably, be more of like a trainer and then retire. But that would be like when I'm 45, 50, dude. We're talking like 15, 20 years down the road.
That's crazy. As we wrap up, what's the biggest piece of advice you could give someone younger, someone like some of your agents, or like whatever, like somebody who's like really trying to learn, trying to be successful like you, maybe come close to being how good you are, but like
be better than me.
Be better, the brand, baby, the brand. But like what's some of the best piece of advice that you've been given, or that you share with other people that could really help agents succeed?
Man, I've been given a lot of great advice. I would probably say find a good mentor who actually cares about you, not somebody who is more fixated on how much money you're making, how much production you're putting in there, but like somebody who actually cares about you. Like a lot of mentors are very focused on one thing, which, if you're talking about a mentor in this space, they want you to make them money. But like, do they ever talk about like, hey, how's your family? Like, hey, I heard your, brother just got in a car accident. Like, how's he doing? Like things like that, where they actually give a crap about you as a person. Find somebody who does that for you. And it's hard. You might have to go through some, but a mentor is, dude, it's mind, body, soul, and business. It's everything. And you might have to pay for it too. Obviously their time is valuable, but I think when I started looking at mentors and people that spoke things over me, and just, I'm a Christian, so I like aligning myself with people like that as well, just because it's more of a positive light. You don't have to be Christian to be a positive person, but that's what I find. I think it did a lot. I can tell you this, I did not have a mentor before that challenge, and I had got my mentor about a month before that challenge. So going from a guy who's, the biggest year I ever wrote was, I don't know, $300 something thousand in business, which was the year before that. And, going from that to being a millionaire was a mentor, in just a little things here and there. And when I say a million, I don't mean like, I mean like I did $1 million in revenue. People say like, oh, you're a millionaire, you must have all this money. It's like, no, I could have spent $850,000 on that in marketing expenses. So, yes. I don't like to throw that term around like lightly. But yeah, man, I think a mentor is a big one.
That's awesome, dude. Well, dude, super appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on this podcast. And if you're trying to go from unknown to unforgettable, these are some basic principles. Get a mentor, get someone who actually cares about you, who's in your corner, not just to get your money, but who's actually genuinely there to help you. Implement these, and I guarantee you'll be able to go from unknown to unforgettable. Go like, comment, and subscribe. Drop your favorite thing in the comment, and drop in the comments what a chiropractor is, what they do, or what a foot doctor is called. But thanks so much for tuning in and watching till here. And until next time, see you soon, guys.